Hey Gemini, what's up gang? I hope everybody is well. We're gonna go ahead and do the what door is closing, what door is opening reading. This was the one that was voted for second in the community tab, so I really wanted to do that for y'all. If that interests you, do stick around. Gemini, if you are new to this channel, welcome. My name is Jessica. Please take a look in my description box. That will have any information that you need to know. And yes, this is a Gemini channel. However, if you vibe, you tribe, so go ahead and make yourself comfortable. Gemini, if you are returning, welcome back. I hope that you're well. Hope you're taking care of yourself. I do hope that you're doing what's best for you, boo. Thank you for all the love, all the support. Gemini, thank you for all the good vibes. It really does mean the world, okay? All right, guys, so let's go ahead and just get right into this. We have the waves that came out, okay? So very interesting here with the waves, because I am sensing that there's been a lot of emotion that has maybe coming to you at once. Some of you guys might have just been quite simply in your feels recently. There could have been something that happened that was the catalyst for this. Some of you guys, it might just feel like it's up and down. Maybe you're very used to being in the waves, in the ocean. You're used to sometimes feeling a lot of emotion and then feeling none and then feeling a lot. It's like an ebb and flow, or it's something that's very expected for you, the ups and downs of life, okay? So I do feel like for some of you, this could be a door that is closing here, is perhaps the more chaotic emotions, because to be honest, in my mind's eye, they're showing me stormy waters. They're showing me like a storm that's sloshing a lot of water out, and I'm instantly getting burpy. So I feel like there's a lot of purging that you've been doing, and you know, the storm is medicinal. I say that all the time. Storms in our life, they pop up because they help us clear things away, okay? It always makes me think of when we have hurricanes, and you know, a lot of times the storms will come through and they'll destroy some of the coral reefs, and that's actually good because those coral reefs can become very invasive and they can almost take over. So it's like the natural cleanup crew, right? Like Mother Nature knows best. And so she brings the storms to get rid of the things that might be getting a little overgrown. It's kind of like when we have true natural wildfires that really are clearing away the overgrown, okay? So sometimes things happen to kind of strip us clean or bring us to our bare bones here so we can start over brand new, all right? Also, after big hurricanes or big storms off the coast, a lot of people will go out and search for treasure. It's like the perfect time because all that stuff that's been very sedentary and stuck at the bottom of the ocean is now brought up and disrupted, and you know, we can find things that have been buried for years, maybe even centuries, depending, okay? So I feel like just, you know, spiritually, metaphorically, this is what's been happening to you. There's been a storm that's come through, Gemini. This has brought up some things that maybe has been buried, but it's good because now we can sort through this and we can go, okay, well, that's good. That's not needed. That's good. We're not going to keep that. And it's almost like a decluttering of yourself. And of course, I'm a firm believer in everything that happens in the spirit is also happening in your daily life, right? In your everyday life. So if you are feeling like you're decluttering within your spirit, then you're most likely decluttering within your home, within your connections, within your habits, your space, right? Some of you guys could definitely be going through things where maybe you have too much. Like, let's just use my tarot decks for an example, because I have so many decks and I've been looking at these decks like, Jessica, are we trying to fill a void here? Like, there's just too many, and you only grab for like 5, you know, at any given time, and you have 5 on rotation. Do you really need all these decks? So maybe there's been some things like that where you're just like, okay, am I holding on to things out of comfort, validation, security? Maybe I'm getting too personal here, but it reminds me of my parents because they were low-key hoarders. And so I grew up in a house where there was always clutter. There was always something. It was always like, don't throw that out. That was your great Uncle Bob's whatever from back in 19 whatever, you know? And it's just like, we never even use it, or it's just shoved in a corner with a sock over it. It can't be that special. But that's just how my parents were. And, you know, as I grew, I found out about their childhood, and I found out that, you know, they both went through a lot of loss. My mom grew up at the tail end of the Depression, so she was very poor. I mean, she at one point lived in a pig shack, you know, and she was out there picking cotton. You know, with okay, out there picking cotton. That's what her family did. They worked on farms. They worked for people. At one point, she picked tobacco. She was very poor. And so she didn't have a lot, you know, like Christmas time, they'd look forward to being able to get like oranges, you know, because that was like a luxury for them. My dad, on the other hand, he did grow up in a house that had more money, but his dad, and I'm not trying to call it my family here, but it's coming out, so I'm just going to say it. I mean, we all have not great things in our family, so I feel like it's important that we're transparent on this channel with each other. You know, when you watch my readings, I don't just ask you to be vulnerable with me, but I'm being vulnerable with you. But yeah, his dad wasn't always the nicest, and so sometimes he would buy him things that he really would like, and then he'd come home from school and he would be like, oh, I sold that, and just completely traumatize my dad. So my dad never really felt like he could get too comfortable or, you know, secure with what he had, because at any moment it could be taken away from him. So when he had a chance to live his own life and have his own stuff, yes, he liked to collect, he liked to hold on to things. Again, sorry if I got too personal there, but I do feel like there's something there with that, okay? It's like learning that you're safe, learning that you're secure. You don't need to hold on to things. You don't need to validate your existence or validate yourself within material, you know? You can feel safe just with what you have on your back, your shirt, your clothes. You can be secure with that, okay? So... whew, that was a whole lot for an intro, but that's what I was getting, guys. So let's just go ahead and get into this, okay? I've never done one of these readings. A door is closing, so what's opening? I've never done this, so we're just gonna roll with it. But I saw this deck in my mind's eye. It's the Angels, Gods, and Goddesses deck. So this is what we're gonna use. And of course, we're going to look at what door is closing, right? So Spirit, what door is closing for Gemini gang currently, okay? What door is closing for Gemini gang? What door is closing for Gemini gang? Give me just a moment, uno momento. Sorry guys, every time I hit my desk, something was rattling over here and I'm like, I can't deal with that for the rest of the reading. Okay, back to the regularly scheduled program. So what door is being closed? What door is closing for Gemini gang, please? What door is closing? Oh, that's another thing I forgot to mention. When I got into you guys' energy and I was smudging and I was doing my little, you know, prayer that I do before I start reading and stuff, my foot started itching really bad on the bottom of it. Almost like when my hand itches when I know that I'm about to receive money. And I was like thinking to myself, what is that? And then all of a sudden I got a message, and I feel like it came from my spirit guides, and they were like, you're about to step on new ground. So I feel like that's significant for you guys too. Maybe it is for me, maybe it's for you guys. I never really know sometimes when I get into the mode of doing y'all's readings, what's for me and what's for you. Because not all of this is for me and not all this is for you. I don't know. I'm just here. I'm just showing up. I just work here, you know? But that's what I heard. And so I feel like some of you guys, you are going to be stepping onto new ground. Now this could be literally, or you could just be having a new beginning, okay? Okay, what else do we have? And if anybody knows of anything like that means, you know, there's like old wives' tale or whatever for when your foot itches on the bottom, let me know. All right. What door is closing for Gemini gang? What door is closing, please? What door is closing for Gemini gang? What door is closing? Okay. What door is closing, please? I find when that happens, it's like a very specific card that wants to come out. We have the Angel of Healing. The angels have felt your sadness and have shown up today to give you healing. Wow, okay? I just find that so funny because that's what I was feeling, like a lot of intense emotions that were coming to the surface. And I do feel like this is what door is closing in your life. Now, we're never fully healed. We never know it all. We're never done, you know? If we're here, we're growing. If you're still a part of this, you're still learning, right? But I do feel like there's something here where you are healing from something significantly, and a great deal of your sadness, possibly the more chaotic, again, or turbulent emotions that were attached to whatever this healing crisis or healing process was, that is what's ending for you, okay? I hope that YouTube realizes that these guys are censored and covered up, because I had a video demonetized because I showed a butt. I'm like, I'm sorry, but the world is becoming more and more sissified as we go along, guys. Like, it's a butt. You know, like, it wasn't doing nothing vulgar. It was just a butt. But anyways, whatever. Moving forward. If it gets demonetized, it's demonetized. Okay, so let's see. What else is, what other door? Let's get two, okay? Two for each. What other door is closing for Gemini gang? What other door is closing for Gemini gang, please? What other door? Okay. We have the angel of self-worth. You are currently undervaluing yourself. It's time to regain your self-worth. I love to see this for what's closing out in your life, because it's like you've suddenly found your power or you found your crown. Some of you are feeling a lot more connected to yourself, your path, your purpose, who you are. You're accepting your shadow side. I feel like this is very strong, like somebody who's went through shadow work here, okay? You've really delved deep and looked at the unsavory parts of yourself, and you've decided that that's not enough of a reason to shame yourself or hate yourself or be down on yourself or hold yourself back or hold yourself away in the shadows. Like, you have embraced a lot of yourself. Maybe you're still working on it. Maybe you haven't embraced all of yourself, but you are working on it. This energy here of undervaluing yourself or not seeing your own sense of self-worth, those days are pretty much over, Gemini, okay? I feel like this has come through this healing. You know, you might have had to have an ego death here for some of you guys, where maybe you had to see yourself in a not so great light, and that's necessary sometimes. Sometimes we need to beat down that ego, you know. There's nothing wrong with thinking highly of yourself, but when you come to the point of where you're very stubborn and you don't see that you could do any wrong or that you are wrong or that you've made mistakes, it's like that's when you stop your growth, you know. Because then it's almost a little bit narcissistic in a way, you know, because it's like narcissists, they don't want to be perceived as weak. They don't want to be perceived as failures. They don't want to be perceived as having flaws, okay? But everybody has flaws. Everybody fails sometimes. Failure is a learning moment, right? Everybody has parts of themselves that they're not happy with or they're not proud of. Everybody makes mistakes and everybody's still growing, Gemini. So when we can put the ego to the side and we can see this about ourselves and not attach that to toxic shame, right? Because guilt is saying that I've done something wrong. Shame is saying that I am something wrong. And I feel like for some of you, there's been some shame here, possibly about something, maybe the way that something has went down, or maybe the way that things have gone down in general in your life. Maybe you've been doing a lot of reflecting. Again, things coming up to the surface that have been buried for a long time. We look back, we reflect, and sometimes we can get into that energy of feeling remorse or feeling regret or having misgivings about the ways that things have gone down. I get the energy of people who are very present right now, because you know that the past it doesn't exist, but if we are going to look back on the past, we only need to look back to learn. That is it, you know? And I feel like this is something that you've been working on. Now, I also feel like there's something here with your sacral chakra, just because, or not sacral, excuse me, maybe sacral, but I was going to say solar, because that looks like that's more, you know, closer to the solar chakra there. And of course, the solar plexus is all about our expression, how we express ourselves, and it can be linked to our confidence too. And I feel like there's something here with that, okay? Like how you're expressing yourself more clearer because you are more confident in what you're expressing. Some of you guys, the solar plexus always makes me think of the sun, and the sun is the ego, the sun is yourself, it's your identity. And so I feel like there's something here where you've really been looking at your identity in all aspects, and because of that, you see yourself in a clearer way. In a more loving way is the energy that I'm getting, all right? I do feel like you've had some kind of spiritual support or healing as well while you've been going through this. On the bottom of the deck here for this angel of self-worth, we have the goddess of compassion. It says self-criticism is diminishing your sense of self-worth. Yes. You are very critical of yourself, you know? Some of you guys maybe have been not talking to yourself in a very nice way, or just really down on yourself. And you know, words are magic, right? It's interesting because I was watching this podcast the other day that was just so profound. And it was talking about how the world around us is like a web. It's like an energetic spider web. And so when you put words out into your web, you're affecting it. And the words are getting caught in your web. So when you are saying things like, oh, I hate this, or I can't do that, or I'm weak, or I'm worthless, you're not only impacting you, but you're putting those words out into your web, which is basically the world. And it can impact your family, it can impact your children, it can impact your neighbors next door. And, she was talking about how basically, like, we talk about cleaning up the oceans and we talk about cleaning up the planets, but nobody talks about, our own pollutant that's coming out of our mouth, the energetic frequencies that we're speaking, and how that can actually negatively, like, impact the world, which I completely agree with that. And she gave a really cool, like, visualization technique here. And for those of you that's wondering, her name is, I'm pretty sure, Sandra Ingram. She is amazing. She is a shamaness, but yeah. Anyways, she gave a really cool visualization for when you have sent out negative energy and you want to bring it back. And you weren't trying to send it out. It's just that, I said something like say somebody cut you off in traffic and you're like, I hope you have the worst day of your life, right? And it's like, you feel bad about that afterwards, like, man, I shouldn't have lost my cool like that. Or maybe, who knows, maybe they're trying to get to the hospital, maybe they have something really crazy going on in their life. Who knows what other people are going through, right? For whatever reason, you have a moment of recollection and you're just like, okay, I need to not be like that, okay? She said basically you can visualize yourself having a fishing pole and you cast the line out and you visualize the hook grabbing the dark, negative, cloudy energy that you sent to that person with your negative words, and you can reel it back in and then disperse it into the universe and give it to spirit and let spirit do what it wants to do with it. Okay. I just thought that was so amazing. And then she was talking about also like shooting like arrows of light at people. I don't know. It was just an awesome podcast. It really was. But anyways, okay. I feel like it's going to be one of those readings where somebody's in the comments like, you talk too much. But anyways, I feel like there's this energy here of that, okay? Like really being very cognizant of your energy, of yourself, of the words that you're speaking to yourself, and seeing how that actually can impact others around you, okay? So, drum roll please. Let's see what doors are opening here for Gemini gang, okay? Now that we have doors, did something pop here? Yes. We have the Goddess of Justice. So Libra energy could be significant. It says what seems like an injustice is actually a blessing. Ooh, so we're turning the frown upside down, guys, and I like to see it, okay? So what this card is saying is the door that's opening for you is your perspective is shifting, right? Because this card, what it represents is somebody seeing that the things that have happened to them, they didn't happen to them, they happened for them, okay? Seeing that sometimes we have to be grateful for the things that we wanted that we didn't get. Right? Sometimes we have to be grateful for the towers that come into our life. Sometimes we have to see, and this is, of course, in situations where it's like that, where it's like, wow, at the time of this, when this was happening to me, this was really hurtful, or I didn't understand why I was going through this. But now that it's actually happened, I can see that this was helpful to me in some way. Or if I hadn't gone through this, I wouldn't be to where I'm at right now. It's like the energy of like maybe you lose a job, okay? And it's like, well, I need my job. I need to pay my bills, and I actually kind of like my job too. And now I feel a little lost and I don't know what I'm doing. But then on this path to now searching for a new job because you don't have this job, it's like, feeling like this is unfair and why did this even happen to you? And then you run into something that might be even better or even more aligned for you, And it's just that feeling. It could also be something with a relationship, like maybe you really thought somebody was your person and it didn't work out for whatever reason. And maybe, on your path to healing, you meet somebody else and you feel like, wow, I'm happy that it didn't work out with this person because I couldn't imagine not being with this person. Or maybe you needed that pain to actually grow within yourself and to release something that you were holding, so you're thankful that you went through that. It really is about seeing the bright side of the storms. Again, like I had said in the beginning of this reading, the storms are medicinal, okay? The God of Indulgence is on the bottom of the deck, and it's very interesting because it says it's all right, stop beating yourself up, a little indulgence and balance is healthy. So I feel like for some of you, whatever this is that feels like it was an injustice, which possibly is what put you into this healing crisis here, and maybe even started to make you question your self-worth. Maybe you were rejected in some way and you're like, okay, I'm not worth nothing, I'm not good enough, right? it's like Spirit doesn't want you to beat yourself up over the feelings, the very real human feelings that you were feeling, or the mistakes that you feel like you made, or maybe how you feel like maybe you fell back a little bit, okay, when you experience this. Basically, I really do feel like life is a circle, and so we're continuously learning things over and over and over again. That's why I don't really feel like we can ever be off of our path, you know? I feel like our whole life is our path. You know, it's not a straight and narrow line. It has twists and it has turns and it has curves and it has bends that you're going to go around where you can't see anything. And then it also has, like, you know, moments where you're going to take a step back and you're going to go back. It's just, that's how it is, okay? So I just feel like Spirit wants you to know, like, as you open this door to perspective and understanding that something that you feel like is just unfair and not cool on many levels is actually a blessing for you, and you might not be able to see that right now. Okay? You might not be able to see the blessing right now, but you will see the blessing one day. All right? All right, cool. So what else? Let's get one more. One more for the door that's opening for Gemini gang. What door is opening for Gemini gang, please? What door is opening for Gemini gang, please? We have the Goddess of Awakening. Ooh, this is a wondrous time of exploration, romance, and creativity. I like that. It's like the light is finding you, you know? So what door is opening for you, Gemini? A door of adventure, a door of new beginnings is really what this feels like. It feels like you're going to have a time here where you're going to be feeling really good. You're going to be exploring, you're going to be creating, you're going to be opening yourself up to maybe new romance, new possibilities. We do have the Angel of Finances on the bottom of the deck, so it says honor and give thanks for the blessings that you are about to receive. So yeah, I feel like some of you guys could be going into a new business venture or new passions, new hobbies. There is some kind of abundance that's going to be opening up in your life, and this feels like it's very anointed, or it's meant to be here. Like, it's almost like divine intervention that a lot of this has happened. That's why I feel like you're going to look back at whatever situation that you might currently be going through, or you just currently went through. And you could be looking back at this one day like, wow, I'm really happy that I went through that. Even though it was scary, even though it might have hurt, even though some parts of it I don't like and I will never like, I can say that I'm thankful for what I went through. I'm also noticing a lot of stars here. Stars on the Justice, star on her crown, and then we have a star here. So star energy, Aquarius energy could be significant, but stars for me do talk about hope. They talk about healing, talks about recognition and regeneration as well. So some of you guys are definitely going through a process of regenerating here. Maybe you're gone through some kind of spiritual upgrade, and of course everybody thinks that's going to be you skipping through a field of flowers, right, with butterflies landing on your noses, but actually it's more like you know, in the darkness in your room, rocking back and forth on your bed, wondering why the hell all this is happening. That's more accurate for what it's like. At least that's how it's been for me. Every time I go through some kind of spiritual transformation upgrade. That's why when I watch pick a cards and it's like, what blessing is coming? And it's always like spiritual transformation. I'm like, geez, Louise, does it ever end? You know? But anyways, it's like, for once, could I just get $1 million? Is that too much to ask, you know? But actually, I feel like y'all are going to have some money that's coming in here, you know? It's just funny what we deem valuable and what Spirit deems valuable, you know? So yeah, you guys are going through an awakening process here. We have the Angel of Expression. Interesting, because I was talking about that with her expression here. And it says, speak your truth and express yourself clearly. And this is going to be a door that's opening up. You are no longer going to feel bad about expressing yourself. You know, you're no longer going to feel bad about telling it like it is, you know? And it's like, I'm not trying to offend nobody. Okay, I'm not trying to hurt nobody's feelings. I'm not trying to call nobody out. I'm just speaking my truth, and it's going to land how it's going to land, right? That's how some of you guys are starting to feel. It's like you've gotten your spark back, or you will. Like, your confidence is going to be growing a lot. So this Angel of Healing, I don't want to spend too long on this clarifying, but let's just see, okay? We have the moon here. So yeah, there was a lot of stuff from the subconscious coming up. When I think about the moon, I think about the things that are buried here, right? Deep within. There was definitely an ego death that's happened here. Like you were maybe possibly seeing something in one way. I'm not going to say you were seeing something the wrong way, because if that's what you're seeing, that's what you're seeing. But it wasn't the most conducive way, right, for your growth and your higher path. So I feel like you are seeing something a lot clearer now, because when the moon is out, there's illusions, right? There's shadows, there's the murky fogginess, and we can't really see as much as we would on a bright sunny day. So yeah, I feel like a lot of things coming up from the surface here with that moon. I also feel like there could have been some kind of psychic attack or spiritual attack that somebody, just because she's just like right, running through the moon. I don't know, guys. I feel like for some of you guys there was some kind of psychic attack or spiritual attack that maybe you went through. Somebody could have really been evil eyeing you, and you know, you don't have to be an actual like sorcerer or anything to evil eye somebody. All you have to do is do like I had said, right? That person who cut you off in the car and you're like, I hope you have the worst day of your life. That's evil eyeing. That's literally wishing negativity on somebody. Yeah, that we're ending that, right? It's hard, y'all. Driving in this world is hard. Trust me. That's one of the times I cuss the most, is when I'm in the car. You know, I'm gonna find your kids, I'm gonna find your family, right? Like I get so like the mafia boss when I'm in the car, but I've gotten better, y'all, okay? But I feel like there's just something about that, you know? Like things coming up to the surface, okay? Yeah, so I feel like you're healing. Well, you did heal. This is the door that's closing, right? So you're not going to be in the thick of it, right? Of this healing crisis. Yeah, things are changing here with the Wheel of Fortune. It's like at one point you were like, okay, well, what else is next? And again, you know how I feel about that. Don't tempt the Lord here. We don't ever want to ask, well, what else is next? Or what else? How worse can it get? Well, I don't ever say stuff like that, okay? Because Spirit's like, okay, you little smart ass, let me show you something. But yeah, I feel like there's this energy here with the Nine of Wands of like, that might be how you are feeling. That is the energy of the Nine of Wands. Like, what else can go wrong? You know, being very paranoid, feeling like you just keep getting hit after hit after hit and not getting a break. That's what the Wheel of Fortune is bringing in regards to change. This is changing for you. Angel of Self-Worth, please, for the door that's closing for Gemini gang. Yeah, well, some of you guys might have attached your worth around something that was external to you. It happens, you know, or maybe you didn't realize that's what you were doing, but then when you face some sense of rejection or something here, even if you were the one that walked away, you still might have felt rejected, you know, one of those I'm gonna leave you before you leave me bits, right? There could have been something here where maybe you just didn't feel like your worth was seen, that your value was seen in a situation with the person, you know? You could have felt like because they didn't see your value, maybe there wasn't any, you know? You might have really looked up to whoever this was, like, wow, they're so great, they're so amazing, and if they don't feel the same way about me, then clearly there's something wrong with me, right? But that's why we don't take our own self-value, our own self-identity, and base it off of how other people see us, because, you know, sometimes people don't see your value, right? That doesn't mean that it's not there, though. That's the thing. That's their problem. That's not your problem, Gemini, you know? But if somebody doesn't see your value, well, that really is their problem. But the value, that doesn't mean the value is not there, you know? And really, in that kind of situation, what you need to be saying is like, well, this is clearly your loss. Or if you don't see my value, you're obviously a dumbass. And I really don't fuck with dumbasses anyway. So thank you for the favor. Fly away now, right? And I will proceed on to somebody who does see my worth. Somebody smart, you know? Like, I don't know, Gemini. That's kind of what I'm getting here, okay? So just take it as it resonates. But it feels like, yeah, it's like if you didn't get... And this doesn't have to just be in relationships. This could be the job. This could be the numbers. This could be the views, the likes, the whatever, you know, for sure. It could be, and I, as a content creator here on social media, I completely empathize with this feeling of when, like, you know, you put out content and you want people to like it, and if they don't like it, does that mean there's something wrong with you? Does that mean there's something wrong with your gifts? Are you not performing good? Have I peaked already, right? It's like this kind of energy here, but this was really impacting you, Gemini, and I feel like this is the door that's closing now. You're starting to see that the love that you're seeking from anybody or anything else comes from within. It always comes from within, right? Because I say it all the time, you have to be your biggest fan, because you're gonna have haters. That's just inevitable. You know, you're gonna have haters, so you can't be one of them. You know, that job is already taken. So there's something here about, again, maybe not seeing the love in people, the validation, the respect, the honor, the flowers, the recognition, whatever. And this may be impacting you in a negative way and making you think, well, okay, well, maybe I'm small times, right? Maybe I'm not good enough. I feel like this is honestly something that was already deeply embedded within, because you know what they say about when you get triggered, Gemini. If you're triggered by something, there's a little bit of it somewhere that's true, at least to you, that you find to be true, right? So people not validating you and you going, okay, well, that triggering you, it's like deep down inside, there was already something that you didn't feel like you were worthy somewhere, okay? Very interesting, okay, for this door that's closing here. Cancerian energy coming out with the Chariot. We have a lot of Cancer energy out here with the Moon. We also have Pisces energy. Scorpio energy. You know, the Chariot can talk about a choice, but also the Chariot talks about which beast we're going to feed here, because we see the dark pony and we see the light pony traditionally on the tarot cards. Of course, in this one, we see the two different staffs, right? The staves representing the wands, which represents action. And it's like, what action are we going to take? But I'm going to look at it as like the traditional meaning of what horse are we going to feed? And I feel like that door is closing of you feeding that dark horse, because if you look at her, she is looking at it too. So there might have been too much focus here on the negatives or what's wrong or what we're not getting, what we've lost, what's not working out for us. And we really need to get into this energy of looking at what can go right, which is what we're moving into, right, with the Goddess of Justice. I ain't gonna lecture y'all too much because this is the door that's closing. You know what I mean? This Goddess of Justice, what is this talking about for the door that's opening for Gemini gang? What seems like an injustice is actually a blessing. What is this Goddess of Justice saying? We have the Queen of Cups, okay? And then we have the Strength card, which is Leo energy on the bottom of the deck. So the Queen of Cups is the ultimate empath, right? She's the ultimate healer. She's very nurturing. She's very mothering. She is very kind. She's a very pure soul, and she's also pregnant with spirits, baby. Look at that thing, okay? So I do feel like you're seeing the connection of what's happened in a higher way, okay? I also feel like this is my queen who's going to release something back to the ocean, right? Like, look, you know, I only got so much. Ooh, yeah, I'm like really burpy, which is not attractive, but it is what it is. I feel like that's the energy here. It's like we're releasing something back, you know, and we're accepting and keeping what parts of it actually do nurture us or actually do serve our highest good. We've gained some kind of confidence here. We've gained some kind of bravery, some kind of strength, some kind of courageousness here. We've conquered a beast within too, because the strength, that's what that represents, you know. It's our lower level impulses that everybody has inside of them, that ego death that we talked about up here. Everybody has a beast inside of them, and it's up to us whether or not we want to feed it, right? But ultimately, we are the ones in control, and this is the realization on this card. I control the storm. I control the beast, right? I'm the most powerful thing at any given moment, in any given situation, because I have the power of precipitation. Damn it! Participation. For some reason, I've been messing that up lately. I have the power of participation, right? And that is a very powerful energy, because I get to choose whether I'm going to show up to this drama, to this reading, to this job, to this relationship, to this negative mindset, to this toxic habit, to this addictive behavior, right? To my hopes, my dreams, my fears. I get to choose whether I'm going to show up to any of that. And so I feel like there's things here that you're just choosing not to show up for anymore, but you're seeing the blessing that it was while it was in your life. Some of you guys feel like you're even more connected to spirit now. And that is literally the hallmark, trademark, whatever they say, of like a spiritual gangster badass, right? Like of a true light worker, is when you can transmute and integrate that and come out even stronger, even more connected to the divine. It's like, yeah, you a badass mother. Shut your mouth, okay? But I'm talking about Shaft. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on, guys. That's what happens when I do nighttime readings, okay? Anyways, okay. So what else do we have here for this justice? What seems like an injustice is actually a blessing. We have the Emperor here, which is masculine energy, divine masculine. But it's also standing in your own power, right? It's really, for me, the masculine energy here, this Emperor, is like being rooted in your self identity, who you are, you know? It's really achieving your goals in a balanced way and doing what feels in like a divine alignment for your path, you know? I feel like with the Six of Swords here, this is sail away. This is moving past any kind of mental turmoil or mental warfare that we've had going on. We're very sure, you know? The Emperor's done it all, seen it all, been through it all. And so at the end of the day, he knows himself, you know? But I love that he's out here paired with the Queen of Cups, because it's like, even though, and I feel like this is representing you, okay? I'm going to get to the other message in a second. I feel like even though this is a very masculine energy, the epitome of masculine energy, one would say, with the Emperor energy, there's still an intuitive, spiritual, feminine side, because we need both. You know, we need that duality. Now, another message I'm getting is that some of you guys, if there was a separation of something, a connection, a relationship here, it's like this has opened up the door for you to meet your true masculine, your true counterpart, okay? Male or female, guys, it's just an energy, okay? So let's just say divine feminine for my males in here, if that makes you feel more comfortable. But either way, it's like it's opening up the door for you to meet your true counterpart. And again, when you're with this person, you're going to be very thankful. You're going to look back and be like, wow, I'm so happy that that didn't work out, because then I wouldn't be with this person, and this person is amazing, you know? Others of you, I feel like this whole situation, if you went through this with somebody that you're like, I feel very strongly that this is somebody who has the potential to step into divine masculine or divine feminine. Like, this whole situation actually has helped them, you know, in a weird way. And that's why I say sometimes we just really don't know how things are going to turn out until we've actually been through it. So because of a situation that you went through, if you've grown like from a separation, and again, and you know that this person is not just a son of a bitch, like literally, that is about as aware as a freaking puddle, you know, and cannot take any kind of accountability, doesn't reflect, doesn't care, right? Like, that's not the energy we're talking about. We're just talking about somebody who just makes mistakes because they're human, right? But you still see the divinity within this person. I do feel like this person has grown too. I don't mean that you guys gonna get back together and all that, so don't quote me on that. I'm just saying I feel like this person has grown just like you have grown, okay? So it's like moving forward, moving past something and feeling a lot better. Learning the spiritual lesson here for sure, okay? Now, some of you guys, whatever's happened here, if something was taken away from you, you're going to get something back. It might not be the same thing, but you are going to be taking a leadership position, and you're going to be better off than what you were before. Okay, this Goddess of Awakening here. What is this saying for the door that's opening for Gemini gang? What is this door saying? We have the Ace of Swords. So the Ace of Swords for me is truth, it's clarity, it's an epiphany. It's also a new beginning because it is an ace, you know? And it's interesting too because we have the Nine of Wands. I feel like the awareness is coming over you with this new door opening that you're kind of burnt out on an old lifestyle. Something that you were indulging in, something that you were giving a lot of time and energy to, something that maybe you were doing because you felt like this is what was expected of you, but you weren't actually connected to this. I feel like this is actually ending for you, and you're starting to see that there's new things out there for you. There's other things that you can maybe explore. And I'm suddenly having like a really bad pain in like on top of my shoulder on my left side. And it's like suddenly just come on all of a sudden. And it's making me feel like perhaps you guys felt like you had a lot on your shoulders, you know? My intuitive gifts have just been crazy recently, where it's like I'm literally feeling the things like, it's hard to explain, but anyways, I'm just going with it, guys. I'm literally just like go along for the ride when it comes to everything that's happening to me right now. But anyways, yeah, I do feel like there's something here where it's just like, you know, you feel like you have a lot on your shoulders. That's crazy. I hadn't even really noticed that shoulder pad there, because that's literally where I'm feeling that pain. Some of you guys might have went through some kind of injury or something that put you down and you're like, oh my God, all is lost, right? But actually, you know, you had some downtime. You were able to create. You were able to explore your passions a little bit more. You're able to see things in a clearer way. You know, sometimes when we take a step back, we can see things in a clearer way. When we're so close, we're so involved, it's like we go through the motions sometimes, you know? So yeah, that's what I'm getting. Anything else for this Goddess of Awakening here, for this door that's opening? We have the Ten of Wands. Yeah, it's like you don't want to carry these burdens anymore. It's interesting because I feel like you're the channel sponsor today with the King of Cups, watching your goals and your dreams and your desires from a distance, right? It's like you really wanted something, but you were so like hell bent on carrying something up this damn hill, and then it's like almost like stopping halfway through and being like, okay, why am I doing this? Because what I want is off yonder, you know? And you're seeing that it's like there's a realization or there's epiphany that there's more out there for you, you know, more for you to explore, more for you to create, more for you to maybe connect to, you know? So I'm getting this energy very strongly. I also feel like there's somebody who just like, I'm hearing that song. What is it? Like, while you're trying, I get so excited. Ooh, how I like it. You know that I can't hide it. Ooh, we dancing real close. Something, something. You're making it hard for me. That's the song that I'm hearing. That's a good song though. But that's what, like, you're making it hard. I don't know, guys. I feel like somebody is into you though. Okay. Ew. Like, come on now. Just ruining the message, right? It's such a spiritual, deep message, and then they're like, you're making it hard for me. Like, I don't know. Oh my gosh, okay, but yeah, I'm getting that for somebody. Like, somebody might be watching you a little bit and like, dang, it's taking everything I got to hold myself back. Well, I mean, if that makes you happy, if it makes you happy, right? It can't be that bad. All right. Then why the hell are you so sad? Sorry, y'all. Let's go ahead and move forward, okay? Advice and additional messages here for Gemini gang. Advice and additional messages for Gemini gang, please. We have the gate. A barrier keeps you from your goal. Ooh, yes. I listen, and I feel like to open up the gate, because the gate can be opened, right? You see there's this little keyhole here. So this gate is not closed forever. It's not a permanent closing. It's like there's a key, and I feel like the key was in your heart here with this chalice energy. It's almost like you needed to go within, and that's what we were talking about. So I feel like maybe a door is opening now where it's like you're able to go inside. We have the Catechus, you will receive news from afar, and then we have the Maiden, a new relationship blossoms. Like I said, I feel like somebody is into you. I know some of you guys are like, whoop-de-doo, right? I'm sorry, y'all. I feel some of you guys are like, great, it'll crash and burn in a month anyways. Who fucking cares? But I feel like for some of you guys, this could be like longer term, okay? Okay. Let's move on, please. I need to be done with this reading. What else do we have here? What else do we have here for Gemini? That was way too many. It was a big chunk. Okay, serious. This is a serious situation. Let's see. What do we have here for Gemini gang? Advice and additional messages. We have the Hand of Fate. Forces beyond your control intervene. I'm not going to take these two, but I will take this one. Yeah, well, you know, I feel like you were going through some kind of spiritual lesson here, right? So of course Spirit had a hand in it. Some of you guys are also going to feel very led towards some of this stuff where your door is opening. It's like you're going to feel like this was, yeah, follow your intuition, the seer. Like you were very intuitively led towards a lot of this. Again, with that Goddess of Justice, it's like what seems like an injustice is actually a blessing. The Green Man, the forces of nature favor you. Yes. As they should, okay? And we have, let your intentions be known. So you're going to be manifesting here. So it's important that you're speaking your intentions out into the universe, to spirit, you know, what you want to manifest, what you want to bring in. It's, somebody had told me the other day that instead of looking at something as like what you want when you're trying to manifest what you want to feel, okay? And let spirit fill in the blank. So I want to feel loved. I want to feel protected. I want to feel secure. I want to feel safe. I want to feel abundant. And spirit will fill in the blank. Because sometimes we can get so hell-bent on a certain particular thing, a certain particular person, a certain particular outcome, that we actually fuck up our own manifestations. Because you need to be free. You need to be flowing. You need to be open to the possibilities when you're manifesting, you know? The green man came back out. The forces of nature favor you. So obviously that is not a lie, okay? And then last but not least, we have the seduction card, passion and romance awaits, okay? So ladies, shave your legs. Sorry, y'all, I'm done. The wizard, it says, use your skills to aid others, okay? And I feel like that's what you're gonna be doing, because you are very skillful in something that you do, Gemini, all right? All right, guys, that has been your reading. I do hope that it helps, hope it resonates, hope it does something, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.